Reporter Alexis Zotos joining us now live from the scene with the latest on the investigation. Alexis?
Well, Bo, Kristen, right now all that remains of Building D is this pile of rubble. Now, firefighters had no choice but to knock it down earlier today because of safety concerns. Undercover officers spent the majority of the day observing this bathroom at Tyson Park. They say it's been the source of many complaints.
CHP has confirmed that there are multiple fatalities from this accident. I'm going to let you take a look at this. There is a tractor trailer there. That is the one that is billowing heavy white smoke. Just a few moments ago, there were flames shooting out of that. Now, next to that is a bus that is laying on its side. We are told it is a church bus coming from North Carolina. THP could not tell us how many people were inside, but he says it is the size of a Greyhound bus, so a very large bus. Here's what we know about the details of what might have happened. According to the Jefferson Rescue Squad, it appeared that the bus was traveling eastbound and ended up in the westbound lane, which is where this accident is right now. The bus ended up in the westbound lane, and there was a head-on collision.
President Obama spoke here to a crowd at the Amazon Distribution Center on his job creation plan. It's a plan he's calling a grand bargain for middle-class jobs.
Kristen, Haley, let me tell you, this rain is a huge relief for these firefighters, saying they might actually be able to get some rest tonight. Let me just give you a sense of where we are. We're several miles from the actual fire. It's actually just over that ridge. We can still see a lot of smoke from where we are, but we are being kept back for our safety as well as the firefighters so they can do their job. Now, this is still a very active fire despite this rain. About 125 acres are still burning, but that's down from more than 200 last night. It's a very active scene, but they did make a lot of progress today.
But when you get inside of this shelter, these walls are 8 inches thick. The ceiling and the floor are 12 inches. And take a look at this door. It weighs more than 100 pounds.
My team's Alexis Zotos was in court today and has details on today's proceedings.
Today, the state presented some of their most compelling testimony, including the medical examiner and a phone conversation not previously allowed in Thomas's first trial. Biggest thing you need to know is there are no backpacks allowed in Neyland Stadium. And as for other purses and bags, you can bring them as long as they fit inside this box. Well, Jean, Kristen, a year ago, this was the Joneses family's 2-story brick home. Today, all that's left is a bit of rubble and pieces of the foundation. As you can see, there's still a lot of activity going on down there. We are joined right now by Knox County Sheriff's spokesperson, Martha Dooley. Martha, what can you tell us about the latest in this investigation?
Well, as you mentioned, the parents, Angela Major and Ken Mason, have been taken down to detectives' headquarters.
Here's how police think it happened. The car was driving at a fast speed down through this parking lot, speeding through where it then crashed into the concrete wall in front of the restaurant. It went airborne into the restaurant where it struck and killed that woman who was paying her bill. It then came to a rest in the neighboring Wild Birds Unlimited store.
And Alexis, what's going on out there right now?
Well, Kristen, they have just opened up the red carpet into the theater where the guests have started to pour in for tonight's special screening of Hunger Games Catching Fire. But fans have been lined up out here. They don't have tickets inside, but they're hoping the chance to see the star, Liam Hemsworth. Right now, we're joined by 2 of these fans, Abby and Stephanie. And girls, what are you most excited about for tonight?
To see Liam. Yeah. Liam, definitely.
In Tennessee, before you can carry a handgun, there is a lengthy and somewhat costly process to go through.
Here comes beady-eyed bad guy.
The 8-hour course begins in the classroom, going over everything from the basic parts of a gun.
You cock the gun, now it'll fire.
To the extensive laws and regulations.
It's a lot to learn in 8 hours.
But instructor Doug Estep says it's key students walk away with an understanding of what it means to carry a gun in public.
Having the gun in your possession is not going to make you safe. You have to be aware of what's going on around you. You don't want to get in that situation to begin with, that's your only option to get out.
There's no prior knowledge needed for the class, but to pass, students must complete a written exam and then hit the range to prove their proficiency with a gun.
With the recent political debate over gun control, handgun carry classes like this have been selling out across the state. But people's reasons for taking them are all very different.
I own a small business and I have 2 small children.
and just I'm by myself a lot, so I just want to be safe.
I don't know that I'd ever carry one on my person, but just to have it in the car, if you're traveling out of town, anything like that. Really why I wanted to get the permit.
There's been a lot of talk with, ammunition going up and being scarce, and some handguns or some guns outlawed, so you never know what's going to come up, and I want to go ahead and get mine just in case.
Completing the course cost around $80, but that's only half the process. The application itself is another $115 and requires proof of citizenship, Tennessee residency, and the ability to pass a background check. But the cost and time are worth it for many. For that one moment, they may need it.
That's the factor that may make it so that you could be the one to go home instead of the attacker.
In Knoxville, Alexis Zotos, 6 News. This kitten is just one of the animals suffering in Campbell County.
He got hung under the house, and he cried for about 4 days.
With no animal control, the Derritts had to rescue him on their own. Body was injured. Now his leg must be amputated.
I hate to see a little thing like this hurt.
But Deputy Mayor David Young says they will not respond to calls like this.
So who were they supposed to call?
Call whoever they want to call, but we are not providing any services at this time.
Young says they were forced to close the shelter because of complaints.
This is the price that the Campbell County people are paying for someone meddling in business that they had no business into.
The county is answering calls about dog bites, sending the sheriff's deputies to respond. But for strays, he says the community is on its own.
I'm sure there's probably people that's taking it into their own hands and taking care of that. That may not be the best way, but that's the old way.
The cages remain empty as TBI continues their investigation into the shelter. And with no plans to reopen until that investigation is complete, the Friends of the Campbell County Animal Shelter say they have no choice but take in any animals that need help.
I think it's irresponsible. It's completely irresponsible. We're happy to do as much as we can, but there's a limit to what we can do physically, financially, emotionally.
The group is funding their efforts out of their own pockets.
We've been thrust into rescue and adoption and animal control officer. We've been on the side of the mountain chasing puppies. We've been in creeks chasing puppies. We've been everywhere.
Trying to respond to families like the Derritts who have nowhere else to turn.
The massive fire spread quickly throughout Southwood Apartment Building D, giving its residents little time to escape.
I was laying on the couch and my son was in the bed, and I remember him waking me up. He said, "Mom, the apartment's on fire, get up." And I got up immediately and I saw all the smoke, and I put my shoes on and my coat, and we just ran out the door.
Within 10 minutes, their third-floor apartment was engulfed. No time to grab any belongings.
My boyfriend died January the 2nd, and all the pictures and all his clothes were in there.
Anita Hall said her son Richard saved her life, but their pets didn't make it.
3 birds and 2 fish.
Fire officials believe the fire started in the attic, spreading quickly because of the lack of fire walls. The building is more than 40 years old and was equipped with smoke alarms, but residents say they never went off.
We didn't hear any alarm. I woke up from the smoke itself, and I first thought it was our apartment that was on fire until I looked in the hallway and I seen the flames from the middle apartment.
Firefighters demolished the building this morning due to safety concerns. A shocking sight for this family.
We actually thought this morning we'd have a chance to look through and see if something was salvageable, but we got here, we had no idea it was already torn down. All our photos, all our clothes, everything, her pets.
Things that I had from childhood, I mean, it's all gone.
Because the building had to be torn down, it will make the investigation a bit more difficult because firefighters will not be able to go in and determine where this fire started. They do hope to use interviews from residents to get an idea of where this started and hope to get a reason of why it started. But for now, they say this is not being considered suspicious. Live in South Knoxville for the CW 20 News at 10, Alexis Zotos, 6 News.